It is with great pain that I need to discuss the fundamentals of Fallout for the April 2023 OCG ban list on our side of the game. And does this mean that I'm going to lose all my Runick cards? Come on, I don't want to make this video, but it's getting closer and closer to the fact that we might lose these. Don't be like the 30% of you that aren't going to nominate my award-winning Oscar performance of Fate crying at the beginning of this video. Make sure you guys smash it so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. So we need to have the discussion of Fallout from the OCG ban list. As much as I want to, dance around it, we got to talk about Runick to start things off here. Runick has turned into a menace. I'm not going to lie to you. Trust me, as somebody that's been playing the pure variant out here for quite some time, I 100% can tell you that it is toxic as crap, all right? Nobody out there disagrees with me, right? Floodgates plus the constant upwards potential of drawing 3-6 cards a turn. You ash my first field spell, I activate the second, have the other one in my hand, I'm drawing 3 cards anyway. I'm laughing all the way to the bank, all right? I fundamentally understand this. Runick at this point in time has been a massive pain in the butt for OCG players, Master Duel players, and maybe not so much TCG players all that much. I mean, I feel like when you're looking at like the TCG mentality behind this, I think a lot of players will agree with just, as long as it's like the pure version, you clean it up. It's not like it's an unbeatable matchup. I mean, just play back row removal, 5 head, and then just out the Hugin. I mean, that's kind of how it feels like with a lot of other people, or, just establish, big monsters, play through the stuff. And it's kind of the general consensus that I feel like a lot of the players have, but things kind of start to get shady when you get into like the Sprite variant, the Naturia Runick. Oh, God, how many variants are there? There's For Hire, Naturia, Sprite. We got Math Mech, Plunder Patrol running around out here. If you haven't noticed, the amount of splashable variants that these decks are kind of chalking up here into the rogue category for these sub-engines for this engine, or for Runick. And when you got 5-6 variants of the deck, 6 if you want to count pure, you kind of might want to start looking around and going, Now, one of the bigger contenders here on the, secondary part of the discussion is skill drain. Now, from my understanding, once again, majority of this community doesn't like floodgates. I get that, but looking at how this format has kind of shaped up and the problems that have escalated around this, skill drain has been one of the only reasons why I've been able to play the game with the pure variant. Now, the reason I bring this up is because, who else is even playing Skill Drain this form? I mean, you had Tier was, a Dark World. Tier, like 2 formats ago, was one of the biggest culprits for signing it, but when you're playing against yourself all day, you don't really need to worry about it. I think Dark World and, Eldritch. Eldritch players still exist out there. They're super rogue at this point, but I guess they still exist. But when you talk about skill drain, I was reading a couple comments from people like, nobody has ever had a fun experience playing against skill drain, but I think the majority of the TCG players just feel that opening up the door here and kind of calling it a day was, you just play around. It's just one more aspect of the game, and it's only going to be one of those things that you're going to have to deal with on possibly a localized level, maybe a little bit on the regional level, because at some points the consistency, it doesn't really feel like it's there some days. And once again, if pure Runick and, amongst other things, are going to be the really big things you got to worry about, it's just that. But I think for the TCG, if they're going to look at Runick cards, Runick itself is probably more of the issue versus, skill drain, which is just a little piece on the many revolving doors here for this. So that's something really big to consider at the end of the day here. Now, there is also the topic of Glow Up Bulb and the return of Blaster. Well, I kid you not. At this point in time, I'm perfectly fine with Glow Up Bulb actually returning back to the game, alright? The return of these tuner monsters is very warranted. So many people have wanted to see these return. Now, to be fair, every time we tend to see Glow Up Bulb show up, it was an auto-link to, and that's a little bit of an issue. Glow Up Bulb, revive itself after you make the Lingaribo. Pretty annoying. All right, and that's where you'd make the Hulky Fibrex because you had the tuner. That was the whole big kit and caboodle that really ruined all of that for everybody. So I think at this point in time, as we see more and more tuners return, Globe Bulb should be on a safe track back to at least Oneville. I don't see a reason why they shouldn't return this card back at any sort of capacity. So please, fork it on over. Now, Blaster, on the other hand here, I think Blaster will also come back. I don't see a reason as to why both of these cards should even be locked up at this point. The fact that Blaster has continued its path of like doing nothing, well, it's really good in my Salamangreat deck. You need as much support as you can get playing out of date 4 years ago Salamangreat. Yeah, the deck gets a little bit better. Speaking of Salamangreat, Gazelle can probably move on the list, but that's a story for another day at this point. I think we could push it on through to 2 there, but I digress. We're talking about Blaster right now. So we can go ahead, bring back Blaster. I don't want to see Tidal or Redux anywhere near the return of this game yet. A Foolish Burial for Water and a Monster Reborn for Earth are not 2 things that I want to see running around in this format right now. I think everybody kind of agrees with me on that. There's some people who are like, hey, let's experiment with it. It'll be fine. I'm not trying to deal with that right now. So just put that out there. Now, I do got to talk about Chaos Ruler here. There's a lot of people right now that think that we are going to see Chaos Pepega Ruler Dragon actually return back to the game. How do you tell people no? Without coming off like you know everything, but they just want to argue anyway. That's a situation I find myself with Chaos Ruler right now. Chaos Ruler, there's no way in hell this card is coming back. If you notice with the last OCG list, they danced around the subject. They were like, Chaos Ruler's fine, guys. We'll go ahead and we'll hit every body steal, every little interaction that, goes with this. We'll go ahead and we'll dance around the pie chart here. And that's where my issue with this is right now, is the fact that they went ahead and they just played the leap over the current issue in the game. And Chaos Ruler, it's very clear that after Nexus that they want a synchro-based format. I'm going to stay on record to saying that because judging by everything that we've seen as of the filming of this video, it does very much feel like that's the aim that Konami wants to go for. And I think that's fine at the end of the day. You do got to give them a little bit of credit for wanting to keep things a little bit fresh. It does feel like we're finally starting to see a difference in our metagames, besides, them effectively being further ahead of us at this point, which I think is kind of a good thing at this point. We'll give them some credit here. I do want to see the potential, at least for the differences, but I think our format without Chaos Ruler is going to just be so much better. Like, I understand that, like, Dragon Rulers want this card, or Dragon Link wants this card back for the potential to, like, try to combo up and things like that, but the card is just so gosh darn toxic at this point in time. I really, really don't want to deal with the Pepega Ruler experience. So, just some little thoughts on that. I also want to discuss, like, little final fallout for this. I think overall, you do have Super Heavy Samurai, you have Purely at this stage, and amongst a few other little interactions like Block Dragon, there are starting to similarly show differences. God, English is hard. You're starting to see some differences shape up in our games. I do think that we will see a lot of the things from the OCG list actually fall over to our list at this stage. I do think that people wanting back Chaos Ruler are absolutely crazy and that they don't understand how toxic that card is with the current pool. At this point in time, I don't think that buy steals need to be limited. I think that they are fine as they are. I think the TCG can let them stick around for a long time and see if they're going to do anything. The current problem with our side of the game, though, is, I guess it's too diverse, according to a lot of people. I don't want to see another one-deck format for quite some time. I like the fact that you're seeing 15 different decks on the potential regional grind every single week. I think that's impressive. I think that that's a good sign for the health and the development of the competitive scene. And, you got 2 budget decks you can pick up. You can go pick up Dark World structure decks, you can go pick up Trap Trick structure decks. And you have something to play right out of the box, but people don't seem to understand that. So those are my thoughts on what we can expect for ban list Fallout at the moment. But what do you guys think? Please, comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.